All right, good evening, COP 1000. I hope my sound is better this time. I would like to record this one on a different platform because I want you to grab the information that I would like to add on. And I know that the voice and the sound during our session a while ago wasn't that great. So I just decided to have this recorded so you could have your group discussion and all that. I would like to, before I jump into your objects and classes, kind of, to refresh everybody's mind, I would like to discuss this portion that includes menu driven programs. And this is something very important because I want you to be able to um, get ideas when it comes to your project, right? And I think I made it very clear regarding the project, the hospital project, that you are going to base your um, the data from an existing Florida hospital. You're not going there, but you're going to download for a spreadsheet from their website, and you're going to use that data, right? So the reason why I'm discussing a menu driven program is because this is something that you can use for that project. Isn't it that when we go to a restaurant, the first thing that being offered to us is, hey, how many for how many seats, for how many people? And then once you are seated, they're going to give you a menu, right? So this is an example of a typical menu that you see in your screen. And this is what I want you to do on that project. I want you to create a menu for that, right? I want you to give them options. What are the different selections that they can take advantage, right? So this one, if I press 1, I would be able to execute the instruction from number 1. If I press 4, I would be able to perform that, right? So it is very important that when we create a program, we give them options. There's like a specific menu. So what are those choices? Either that patient is an inpatient or an outpatient. So what's the difference between the two? If you are an inpatient, obviously you're going to have bigger charges because you're going to be admitted on that hospital, right? So if the user press I and it's an inpatient, you also need to consider for what? For the room types. So you're going to ask them, let's say inpatient, outpatient. Let's talk about inpatient first. How many days, right? So if they're going to be admitted for, let's say, 1 or 2 or 3 days, um, it's important that you also give them what a menu for what for type of room. So based from the spreadsheet that you have, I would highly suggest that trim it down into 3 or maybe 4 choices. A while ago we were talking about this one in my other class. It's a higher programming, but they have quite a similar project, but it's of course on a different level, that they're going to use object oriented programming for that. But for you, what's important is to, if you need an array, a function, that's what I'm just looking for. If you're going to have it in 2 version, absolutely you're going to have extra points because of that, especially if you had low quiz before and you're trying to, let's say, make up for something that's going to help boost your grade. Okay, so we were able to get what's that, a spreadsheet. When you go dig into JFK website, you will definitely see, and you will have hundreds of lines in there. And I remember there was a room there that cost about 3,160. You see, I can still remember. So have them, or you decide if you want like 1 for semi-private, 2 for a private, 3 for room and delivery or labor and delivery or something like that. I think there was even a choice if it's a private with tele-aid or with a something with a television or something like that. So you just have to decide as a group what you think is better, or what your ideas are, and you just have to have that decision. Okay, so that's one thing. So it's best to have a decision structure when it comes to performing a menu. I'm going to move forward. This is just an example for that. I know that you would think I need to have a loop for that. Absolutely. But I'm just giving you a visual representation how easy it could be if you have choices. Let's say on a conversion program, then it's going to be better to have, hey, for one, I am going to what? Going to convert inches to centimeters and things like that, right? What else? You can also have a validation. And I think I mentioned on that project as well that make sure, just similar to what you can see on my screen, that if the menu selection is less than 1, which gives you a negative number, or the menu selection is greater than 3, if you have 3, obviously if they enter something 4 or 5, then you could have a prompt that that is an invalid selection, right? So that is something that I want you to consider, right? Another thing is to create modules and functions in your program. So somehow with this discussion, I am somehow emphasizing my expectations so that your program will be a logical program. It's best if you make modules or functions for that so that it's more organized. So the first flowchart that you saw, it doesn't have any modules to it, and this one, it's more compact looking. So instead of, I know it's quite deceiving. I understand that because once you go inside of this conversion anyway, it's going to perform those, statements, right? So that is something very important because you will be able to use a loop, and it's going to be more logical if you have functions so that it will not be so messy and like all dumped in one program, right? So this one is another example that shows you a more compact looking with a loop. All right? So it's also possible to have a multiple menu which has a menu inside of a menu that is your sub menu, so that um, definitely the objective of that is you will be able to break up long menus into multiple menus. You're going to consider how you're going to make it organized, right? So let's take a look at this example. Let's say on a long menu, I do have 10 statements or 10 choices in here. It's like this way, class. On a practical, situation, let's say you call AT&T or T-Mobile, that they're going to say press 1 for English and press 2 for Spanish. When you press 1, obviously that gives you what? Other choices. Press 1 if you would like to, let's say, what's that? Technical difficulty, or you need a service for so and so, press 1. 2 for, let's say, billing and statements. 3 is for, let's say, an online support. 4 for so and so. So that gives you what? Different categories, right? And instead of looking at this in my screen, you would notice that there's a lot. There's 1 to 10, right? We can actually organize this one on like by groups. So provided that we have this long menu, we can actually convert this one into a multiple menu, such as having a main menu and having other menus related. So keep in mind, if you're creating a program, it is best to have the fourth option, which allows you to exit the program. Typically, by exiting the program, you're just going to press maybe 9 or what's that? A sharp symbol, or a number sign symbol, or just simply hang up. But take a look at the sales and return menu. By the way, class, this portion in here is based from where? It's based from here. We're just kind of regrouping it, right? So if I am going to, you know, go inside of the sales and return menu, if I would like to process a sale, I'm going to go press 1. If I would like to process a return, I'm going to press 2. And take a look at this third option in here. Third is go back to the main menu. This is very important, class, because if you do not have that go back to the main menu on your submenus, it's going to be chaotic. Imagine if you're going to pay for what? If you're paying for, let's say, your bill, your utility bill, and you're doing it via phone, and you have the option to enter your card or your visa, etc. And let's say you had a mistake on that number. If there is a portion that says go back to the main menu, or it says press 1 to confirm. You've entered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Press 1 if this is correct. Press 2 if you would like to have another entry or you would like to re-enter. Or this one, press 3 if you would like to go back to the main menu. Let's say you change your mind. So these are the things that I would like you to think if you are creating a project, you're developing something, and this one applies for what? It applies for the project that you are doing right now. So simply showing you all the submenus in here, dividing it by category, and look at that. Every single time that they click something, they're going back to where? This is my main menu. And all of those are coming from all this, long menu that we have right now, right? So guys, it's so important that you have, I would say, a unanimous decision about that. You can create it using Flowgorithm. You can create it using any other flow charting tool. I believe DIA is an open source flow charting tool which is similar to Flowgorithm, if you would like to kind of look at that. And some of you actually created it using C++, and some of you created it in Python. So I am giving you all the decision what you need. You can put comments inside for your program, so you don't have to provide for so many documentation. As long as the comments are, I would say descriptive enough for me to understand, then that's definitely enough for me. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple of examples in here by the use of Python, and this is a very good screen so that you can appreciate more when it comes to when it comes to having some menu in here, right? So notice that if you want to have a comment in Python, definitely the number sign or like the quote, that will be for what? That would be for the comment. And you have a validation in here. You do have your menu selection. You have your nested elif. Case switch is definitely not in Python, but you're gonna have your nested else if, right? That's not a typo, so you are definitely seeing elif in that case, right? So you're checking if the selection that the person made is actually equivalent to 1, then it's going to perform what? Perform this kind of conversion. So that's just a portion of it. Um, it's not the whole thing, but at least you get some idea. If I'm going to show you this into C++, this is how it looks like. You have your menu selection at the top, you have your variables, and sometimes this is going to be an advantage for the others who wants detailed, because I mean for majority of the languages you need to declare your variable, and sometimes it's too compact. It's like 2 to 3 lines combined when it comes to Python. Don't get me wrong, I both love the languages, but they all have their strengths and their weaknesses, right? So notice that the same approach in here, you're giving them a menu from the following lines and you're giving them an option to be able to have that encoded. And there's a validation. Validation is a big deal to me because garbage in, garbage out. If you put a garbage input, then don't expect a good and accurate result. All right. So this is just a portion of that. And this is a possible solution when it comes to your switch menu, and it shows you different cases in here that if you're selecting 2, then it goes with the second case, right? So I hope that you find all of these examples useful, guys. I just want to touch base with this quick kind of screen in this short video so that you can integrate this technique when it comes to your project. All right, I'll probably have another video uploaded, so I hope you're having, I would say, a good group discussion, and use the course room available for you. And once I have this one published and uploaded, you're going to see a link on this one, obviously, on your lesson. All right. Reach out to me if you have any question. You know my email and you know my phone number. Have a great evening. Bye.